Hey guys, 91 Extreme RT here, and this is going to be a beginner's video for Rift. Now, if you're new to the game, these are just going to be a couple things that you should remember just to make your time in Rift just a little bit easier, just little tips and tricks. So, to start off with, you can obviously make macros. I have a shitload. All you do is hit your escape button and you go to the macros tab. You can also have add-ons. There's an add-ons tab, which all I use is Simple Meter. You can get those from Curse or from the Rift forums, etc. Also, you got your key bindings, so if you play, different or you want to redo stuff, you got key bindings for everything. And the most important thing in here is your edit layout button. Your edit layout, you can take and move whatever bars you want and scale them to whatever size you want. So instead of having to download an add-on for it, you can just go into your edit layout and move stuff wherever you want, whatever suits your fancy. So let's leave that. Also, you got your settings button in your interface. Under interface, you have a whole bunch of different options that you can do, like show only your bus, PvP auto flag, ignore dual request, action bars. You can set how many there are there and stuff like that. You got a whole bunch of different stuff. You can tune your audio for different things, and your video. You can go to advanced and you can crank them all the way up. So like all mine are cranked to the max. So that is one thing for the UI. And the next thing is when you start questing, if you're Guardian, you will see these little blue portal things. If you're Defiant, you'll see red ones in lower zones, but in the neutral zones, you'll see big green ones, and you always want to go to these and click on the person that's next to them and save that waypoint. Now that you got this waypoint saved, you can actually jump to any of the other waypoints that you activated before. So all it takes is clicking on one of the guys that are standing here, and if you didn't find the portal column yet, they'll have like a little green thing over their head, and you click on them and bam, you have that portal saved. And unlike games, like World of Warcraft where you have to fly everywhere, here you can just go here and you can port to wherever you want. Instant port, little loading screen, and that's about it. Okay, now that we ported to this other place, you can, another thing to look at would be your map. You can hit M for map, and you're going to see all this stuff all over your screen. These are rifts, like the little blue ones are rifts that aren't open yet. These rifts are ones like, as it says, minor death rift, active, minor water rift, and you got the invasions. These invasions, you can actually, it shows on the map exactly where they're going. So if I'm here, and they're here, and they're going that way, I can just take this road here and kind of cut them off and fight them and stuff like that. So it comes in handy for zone events and stuff like that. Now, another thing to keep in mind is your soul trees. Now, you can mix and match anything together that you want. You have a selection of all these different soul trees, and you can put together any combination that you want for a given thing. So, you, instead of being forced to fill up one tree, you can just put a couple points in there, and a couple points in here, wherever you want them, and a couple points in here. You can mix and match 3 of any of like the 10 different souls and make whatever you want. There's no limitation. You don't have to fill them up and stuff like that. Also, one thing to note about your soul trees is that if you look underneath the soul trees down here, obviously you can see all these numbers on here, 8, 12, 16, 20, and that refers to the amount of points you need in this tree to unlock that ability down here. So, say if I really want this Rift Disturbance ability, I need at least 16 points in the soul tree. So what I do is I kind of put points where I want them, something that's going to be useful, just so I can unlock that Rift Disturbance. Now, if you want the really high level abilities, obviously you can hit this button right here and fill them all up to get what you want out of that. So let's see here. Then once you get all these, another thing to keep in mind is zone events. Now when a zone event pops in your area, you're going to have things under your map here or wherever you set your quest to the objectives you have to complete to unlock the final boss of the zone event. And right here we actually have the final boss of a zone event now that we completed closing all the death rifts and defeating ancient Ashoran invaders. Now I'm going to do this boss, and when you're done with it, you're going to have like your little rift loot thing right here. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but right here. And when you're done, you're going to get currency for that zone or for your level that you can use towards gear and stuff like that. It's going to be its own separate currency other than like your, platinum, gold, silver. There, now that this zone event boss is dead, right down here, you can see, let's open this. I got Planarite and an Infinity Stone. Now, Infinity Stones can be used to buy lots of different things, anything from, your sigils to essences, stuff like that. And that's what I'm going to talk about next, is your essence. Now, down here, you will see, obviously at lower level, you're going to only have like a 2-slot or maybe a 3-slot essence right here, but these essences are very important. You get these essences from doing stuff like killing rifts, zone events, stuff like that. And it contributes to a very large part of your stats. This sigil alone, you always want to have the best essences in there that you can find for your class, because it equates to having like 3 more pieces of full gear on. It's very important to get your sigil or whatever it is for your faction and whatever it's called. There's a bunch of different ones, like this Barnacle Encrusted one is from the water event before Hammerknell was released and Wildet was released. So it's a pretty old one, but you want to keep up on your sigil there. And another very important thing to remember, and you actually get this pretty much right off the start, is your soul recall right here. You can find it, I believe, in your general tab right here. Under your abilities, you hit P, and you go to soul recall. Soul recall will basically port you back to wherever you set it to port you to. So you can, at any port station or whatever, you can set that as your home port. So every time you use your soul recall, it'll port you back to that place. Like mine is set for Tempest Bay, so that's where it's taking me. And the last couple things I want to go over for the new people in Rift is that if you hit your I button, your I will open up your PvE tab. So this would be like your random dungeon queuer or queue screen or whatever. And you can, let's exit the group here, leave party. You can join any of these. It tells you how many dailies you have left, and you can select your role up here. You can queue for rifts and quests. Now at the bottom down here, at this thing right here, you can go to activities, and you can do Chronicles, Conquest if you're level cap, and Instant Adventure. Instant Adventure is basically like a fast chain of quests that you do in a zone with a big group, and you can either do your daily randoms for it, or you can select a specific zone to do them in. Mine shows all the Storm Legion zones because that's where I'm at with my character, so that's another good way for some good loot and some really good EXP. Also, you can click on your social tab down here, and you can look at all the leaderboards for all of the different stuff, like Classic Group or Storm Legion Raid, and gives you the time, who has the best time for clearing the raids and stuff like that. PvP, Warfront Killing Blow Streak. Let's see here, best week, and sorted by my guild, like, right here it shows me on top, number 1, 43 killing blow streak. I mean, and there's a whole bunch of different things that you can look at under the leaderboards. Go back to social here, you can do Guild Finder. You can click on the Guild Finder here and look for certain guilds. You can role-playing hardcore world content, PvP casual dungeons, leveling and raiding. So if you're a hardcore player, you select that. If you want to do dungeons and raiding, you select that. And you can select your roles here that you can do. And when you're available, and it's gonna, under your criteria that you selected, it'll show you all the guilds that are looking for people for your class and role and that have hardcore dungeons and raiding selected. So instead of asking in chat all day, you can just look at the Guild Finder and send the guild leaders of that guild a message through the Guild Finder. Now, once you get in a guild, you have your guild tab, and this is just pretty basic. You got your info, you got your guild quest, you got your roster, the wall, log, perks, ranks, recruitment, and your guild dimensions. Now, that's another thing I want to go into is your dimensions. Your dimensions are gonna be like the player housing part of Rift, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to get into that until later in the game, because it takes a while to accumulate all the stuff needed to build dimensions. So um, that will be in probably a separate video later down the road, but for all you new people to Rift, this was just a basic overview of what to look for, like the portacolumns, how to build your soul trees, and how to figure out how to build them with figuring out how many points you need in a soul tree for certain abilities, going over zone event stuff, and just the basic things that'll help you with Rift if you are new to the game. So that has been it. I'm sure there's a lot of things I can also go over, but that is the gist of it. And now, one last thing to note is that you can also hit K, your K button, which opens up your PvP tab, and you can queue for your random warfront, or you can queue for all of the warfronts. You can also look at your current PvP stats, like, how much prestige you have, how much favor you've earned in your lifetime, how many lifetime kills, like I'm at 78, almost 79,000 lifetime kills, etc. And you can queue for Conquest when it comes up. Conquest is the endgame PvP. Basically, you have to take control of one of the earlier zones, Stillmore, the highest level zone, pre-Storm Legion, and you can queue for one of these 3 factions, and once the Conquest gets rolling, usually it's around 100 people per team, and it's a big clusterfuck of zerging, so and that's that. And the more you do Conquest, the more you can level up your Conquest benefits. So I'm at max Conquest points right now, 200,000, which means I got all these different abilities, like increased favor gained, increased mounted and unmounted speed, and increased attack power and vengeance, and increased max health. So doing Conquest is very helpful. And for PvP, you got your warfronts, and you hit I for your dungeons. You can actually queue for both these at the same time. So I can queue for random dungeon, and I can queue for all of the warfronts at the same time. And there's no limitation of what you can do. And if you're in a if you're in a warfront, and say the match is going really shitty, you're still in queue, even though, like right here, I just got my queue for the warfront. I can go into here and they'll still keep me in queue for the dungeon. So I could be in the middle of a warfront and in the dungeon will pop. So it's really nice to know that that you can queue for both at the same time. So that is about it, and I will see you later.